Happy Video Thursday. It's engine pull day. Before we tear into that, we decided that we have a switch panel that we want to put into the car so I don't have to start it with a screwdriver anymore, which we discussed last week. Well, if we tear the motor out of the car first, we don't know if that switch panel works. So we're wiring that in first and then gonna pull the engine. I'm trusting Bucher with wiring in the ignition panel. I don't trust myself with wiring, so I'm gonna let the man, the myth, the legend, Andrew Bucher, do that. While he's doing that, I'm gonna take some time to start to rip the front end off the car, but I'm not touching the engine or trans yet because we need to make sure that the wiring that he does indeed work. I pulled the front clip off of the car. This is about as far as I can go until Bucher is done. So right now, I have the harness pulled over to the driver's side and I'm just going to label all of the plugs. I'm finding whoever put this back together last just kind of used self-tappers and random hardware that they had laying around. So there's a lot of things that I'm going to replace. Or the crash bar mounts bolt on here. There was only 2 nuts on either side. Overall, everything's okay. It's a project car, but Bucher's definitely finding a wiring mess. And we had a close call, I'll say, with almost burning the car to the ground due to some shady wiring that I'll show you here real quick. I don't know how well you can see this. This wire here is completely stripped. And what did you do? You turned on the battery box? Mm-hmm. And it
started smoking.
Yeah, it got smoky in here. I can still smell it. That wire that was exposed that we found, this one, we chased it as far up as we could to the front, which comes into this little plug thing. We have to put that back up in there. Bucher pulled it out. He pulled the wire out, so I pulled everything out, took the connector off the end of it. No longer connected to anything up front. So now that it's disconnected from both ends, it's safe. And we plugged everything back in, plugged the battery back in, and it still cranks. So we're just gonna leave it at that. Bucher doesn't seem too concerned about it. Bucher just finished up the grounds on this. So now we Gucci. Hopefully we're a little bit better prepared today. It is Sunday Fun Day, day 2. We spent 12 hours yesterday between all of the chasing of the fraud wire and then trying to wire the switch panel because none of the schematics that are online make any sense. And they're all wrong. Bucher went home, spoke to his father, and they think they have it figured out. I wanted to have this engine pulled like 16 hours ago at this point.
But, you know.
So.
It happens.
Yeah. It's a project car. I'd rather it be on this project car than something a little bit more advanced or more in-depth.
More expensive.
Or more expensive. Here we are. Yeah. We out here.
We out here.
We gotta give Bucher's dad a shout out here because Bucher didn't even take the panel home. He showed him a picture of it on Amazon and he's like, oh yeah, that's a relay there. And they basically virtually wired everything. Bucher came, showed up, wired everything in. And we're gonna show you how this works. I don't have it tucked into the compartment yet, but all you gotta do, we're in neutral. This is accessory. This is on, and all the lights come on. This actually still works, surprisingly. Message system that goes above where this is gonna go, right there. Radio comes on, lights come on here. It runs.
Pretty happy with it.
Simple as that. Yeah, now that that headache's out of the way, we're just gonna tuck all the wiring back into the dash, get all that back together. We tucked everything back up under the panel, put all that in there. This is how everything looks installed. We have it just held in with self-tappers, but everything's wired in and it's safe. So now that that's done, we can go ahead and start tearing the motor out of this. This has been quite the weekend. Big moves. The summer edition Red Bull is out. It is watermelon. It is delightful. Red Bull, please sponsor us. I broke 2 of the studs that hold the header onto the mid pipe. This is all out of here. So just like us, we out here, that's out here. This is Oliver. I don't know if y'all have ever met Oliver, one of my day one homies. Well, I'm not sure how much the time lapse caught before that died. We're down to this point. Everything is free for the most part.
A couple loose ends here and there.
The harness is all pulled up here. A couple things got to come off yet. We're gonna drain the oil before we pull it out of here. And we found yesterday the bolts that hold the transmission to the back of the engine work with our engine stand. That they go through here and they're long enough, so that's going to be convenient. We are going to keep working and we will update you right before we pull the engine. We've got some serious chocolate milkshake going on here. That is a blown head gasket at its finest. They're saying water and oil doesn't mix. The E36 has proved that that is a lie. I have to crawl underneath and unbolt the transmission from the engine. Now they have everything strapped up and it's time to pull it. So I will show you what I'm doing under the car and then I'm gonna put you down and we will update it once it's out. Y'all boys ready?
Yeah, we out here.
Say it with your chest.
We out here.
When you come under here, there are bolts that hold the bell housing to the engine. I already took this one out. That's the one that's in our stand. There are multiple other ones. I have to find them, take them out with this here special Torx socket. It's an E14. Update. Finally got the last trans bolt out. What a mess. There's no clearance. Lorenzo said he could pull his engine and trans by himself in like an hour and a half, but that's with the trans. I think it'd be a lot easier to pull the entire trans, but we're leaving that in here. For tonight, it's getting thrown on the engine stand and we will deal with it sometime this week.
Something's not right.
Tour review here. We got this nice Harbor Freight 2-ton engine hoist, right? Well, it's supposed to have cross members that go from here to here. Well, when we assembled it, they didn't fit because they didn't drill the holes in the right locations. So I said, oh, I'll take them to work and modify them. We should be good without them. So as soon as we start cranking on this, it starts lifting out of here and bending the bolts and the plate. So we have a ratchet strap holding it from there to there. And we're gonna deal with Harbor Freight at a later date because that's some grade A bullshit. It took us way longer than we expected it to, but we got it out. It was a little bit sketchy there for a while. It was all hands on deck, just the 3 of us. We got the cross members actually fit into that now. It was still more of a show than it should have been. The M50 is out. We gotta roll the car out and put the hood back on it, and I'm gonna work it bagging and taping up, zip tying off everything so it doesn't get wet. With the hood on it, I'm not worried about it. Can't thank these two enough. Again, this is my homie Oliver, Bucher. Without them, this would not have been possible. We're gonna do a clutch. I might just resurface the flywheel that's on there. The gaskets and head studs and everything, that's going to be addressed sometime in the next couple weeks. Once that's all back together, it's gonna go back into the car, get it running again, and we'll be good to go. And at some point in there, there's gonna be a video of me skimming the head. Shouldn't be anything crazy. Engine disassembly is probably the next video that you're going to see, but I wanna thank you guys so much for watching. At Horsepower Pizza on Instagram, at Cold Pizza Podcast on iTunes and Spotify. If you wanna support us, go to www.horsepowerandpizza.com. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing. Give this video a huge thumbs up. Peace out. Build it for you.